All right. Well, Jared, should we play a different song, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I was going to grace the gram with your picture, but I can do that later.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 207, and today is our lefty episode. We are going to talk about what it's like being a lefty. Jared and I have confessions. Maybe they're not confessions, but we are both left-handed. So we're going to talk about our own lefty experiences and how it can be advantageous and disadvantage to be left-handed. So we'll talk about that. And left-handedness is also viewed, handedness in general is viewed in different ways throughout different cultures. So I'm hoping to talk about that a little bit today as well. So we're excited to bring you this fun episode all about handedness and why we are so cool because we're lefties. So my partner in crime, my left-handed bro, what's going on, Jared?
Hey, dude, I would high-five you, but that seems socially irresponsible now.
We can do the elbow thing, right?
Yeah,
safe?
left elbows unite.
That's right.
I got a whole tangled situation going on.
Yeah, be careful.
Here. I'm moving cords and cameras, and it's just it's a mess. Hey, guys, welcome back. Beautiful day here in Dexter, Michigan. We're sitting on the porch once again. This is Porch Podcast number 4. And it's good to be here. Please, if you want to see some pictures of this beautiful porch, or you want to see some pictures of our beautiful faces on the porch, or if you want to see some video on YouTube, for example, what you should do is spread a little love and follow us, Untranslatable Podcast. You can also follow us. That's on Instagram. Twitter is Untranslatable1, the number 1.
Numero uno.
We are on YouTube, as I mentioned, in HD right now with a beautiful background, if I do say so myself. And you can also, please,
Пожалуйста.
give us some 5-star reviews, please. We would really appreciate that.
Спасибо.
Damn it, I hit the wrong button. There's too much going on because I have to stick my microphone into a speaker. Like this is 1932. It's good to be back, though. It's good to talk about this. You know, our last episode was a very good episode talking about race in America, talking about Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. And I always say to people, listen, don't talk to me about oppression until you've lived life as a black left-handed person in this world. Okay? I am... If there's a totem pole, I'm on the bottom. No, I'm kidding. But I always do make jokes about how no one understands my oppression. I was like, no, my left-handed oppression.
Right. But people say crazy things about us lefties, Jared. You know,
sure.
I had an ex once tell me that left-handed people die sooner.
I've heard that too.
Heard has been debunked.
Huh?
They just say there's not. It's not the right numbers, the right sample size, or I'm not sure, but I can.
But
try to
so
find
they
it,
happen. But what essentially the people they found.
It wasn't an accurate study that claimed that left-handed people died.
Well, this guy you also pitted a 60-year smoker against Sean T, the fitness guru.
Right, exactly.
Sean T. No one knows who that is except for me.
Right here. Second thing on Google: do lefties need a brass deflector? I don't even know what that is. And do lefties live shorter lives? Do lefties run in families? Do lefties have worse handwriting? Do lefties ride Goofy, which is a skateboard? I ride Goofy, actually, and I'm a lefty. Ooh, do lefties have an advantage in tennis? As a tennis player,
all right, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
I found something. A little teaser.
I was looking at, as the protests become peaceful, more and more often, you hear less about them, which means you're starting to hear a little bit more about the Rona these days. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
There's been talks about spikes. There have been talks about... it turns out that asymptomatic people can't really transfer it. That's what they say. I'm not saying that's true or not.
Right.
Turns out it doesn't really transfer well on surfaces. And it's like all these things start trickling out back again. It's like, well, we need something to scare people. These protests are pretty peaceful. All right, back to the pandemic at hand. Which, I mean, I guess it bums me out a little bit because I wish it just means that they're not interested in really like the protest anymore. Which are still happening.
Peaceful, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no really news there for them if there's no action happening. If it bleeds, it leads, I believe they say. Mm-hmm. And so now they go back to the other thing that's been the tried and true scare tactic for the past couple months.
The old Rona.
You know, I was reading something, and I saw, you'll see this title in a second, that transmission can also depend on what language you speak. So they are saying
I heard about
that
this.
the speaking, this is a Vice article asking, does speaking Japanese lower the risk of spreading coronavirus? And I'm just going to read some highlights of it and stuff. But I'll first say, this is what they say, during the 2003 SARS outbreak, almost all of the suspected cases in the United States were people who had recently traveled to parts of the world where SARS was spreading, like China. In July of that year, Sakei Inoue, a researcher at Otsuma Women's University in Tokyo, brought up a puzzling fact. There had been more Japanese tourists in China than Americans, and yet Japan had somehow escaped SARS with 0 officially reported cases. Inouye's, I think that's how you say it, I'm sorry. Inouye's guess to why, which he wrote about in a letter to the medical journal The Lancet, was that SARS might be more easily transmitted in certain languages, namely Chinese and English, because of how much breathing in and out that is needed to produce those languages' common sounds. In Chinese, that's what that is. I was like, what's that noise? The consonants P, T, K, Q, C, H, and C, when placed in front of the vowels, are pronounced with a strong breath, he wrote. In English, P, T, and K are also pronounced by... Please say that facing away from me.
Pete?
How dare you? That is an act of aggression. He also noted that the P sound isn't used as frequently in Japan. He suggested that a Chinese person who mostly speaks English to an American traveler... He suggested that a Chinese person would mostly speak English to an American traveler. I believe American tourists would hence be exposed to the infectious droplets to a greater extent than would Japanese tourists. Now, I get nervous to even bring this up because, we've seen what's been happening in social media these days. These Karens find anything and they run with it. But I just found it interesting, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, the main form of transmission seems to be like... sort of a face-to-face conversation. Mm-hmm. And have you ever had or let's put it this way, have you ever witnessed people have a conversation and you can see, or you've done it, I guess, we've all done it, you can see the droplets coming out of their mouth.
I saw a picture the other day online where this woman had taken a video of this other woman in a church. It was just this, they did it, I guess, to test it. And they had, it was kind of crazy. They had the sunlight coming in on the left side, coming through, so it was behind the woman singing, and you could see the droplets in the air.
Oh yeah,
from her singing.
Oh, I heard earlier, and there was not earlier, but a couple weeks ago, there was some pastor, I believe, I don't know if against orders or he didn't have to do it or something. He opened up his church. And I believe he might have only. Now this just sounds like all conjecture, but I remember. Here's what I remember: people got sick because of the choir, mostly. He got sick because the choir was behind him.
Right.
And then people in the choir got sick.
And they probably weren't wearing masks.
No, of course not.
Right.
First of all, they're in church. They have the greatest mask on them, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
But
they
yes.
don't have good There was, I forget which study, but they did a study that showed that there was a family that somebody was sick with COVID, and they got people sick that were adjacent to them, but then the people that were behind them, because they had ventilation going a certain way, didn't actually get sick.
Wow.
So there's a guy called Dr. John Campbell on YouTube. I think he's great. Watch his videos if you want accurate medical information about this stuff, because he's actually the one that was talking about that study. And he also mentioned that outside, they so far haven't really confirmed a ton of transmitted cases outside, because there's a lot of ventilation. While we're sitting out here, there's a lot of wind going. Mm-hmm. You were giving me shit last episode because I was looking at the banister because of the wind. But it's interesting. I mean, if you think about it, when you are in an enclosed space with no air or fans or ventilation, it'll just sit there. Mm-hmm. It just sits there. So
I saw something about the ventilation too, because I saw that there are systems that can either what different systems do is it changes the direction of air. So some of them it can go straight up. Some of them it'll actually circulate around the entire building. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a ventilation expert, but
Right. Well, then they have those negative pressure rooms where
what's that?
It's what they use in COVID wards, the negative pressure
Oh.
rooms where so air doesn't. I don't know how it works, but I think there's like a barrier before you go in, and then that room they ventilate it such in a way that the air doesn't get out.
Wow.
I'm not really.
So
sure.
it's like a sort of a double door situation, like Sandy's home.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could totally imagine that, like Sandy's home in SpongeBob. You go into that
Right.
first, and then instead of sucking the
chamber,
water out, it
right.
would suck out all your nasty outside air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the language thing, it makes sense. There are
100%.
there are some languages that would be like, I wonder how a language like Dutch or something, or maybe Arabic
Probably not good.
would fare
Also
with
probably
that.
not good.
Yeah.
German not good.
Yeah, there's a
either.
lot of happening,
Right.
or like Hebrew or
forget
something.
Swiss German, dude.
You know, like
Schweizerdeutsch.
yeah.
That's what, yeah,
Oh, God.
right? But the other crazy thing is they've done experiments now with choirs because look, people love music and they want to sing and they want to be able, and people have been quarantined for 2-3 months now at this point, and people are getting antsy, man. I mean, you are literally the only living soul I have seen in 3 months in person.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's not true. I guess I've gone to the post office and the grocery store a couple times, but mask on and all that stuff.
I told you like 2 or 3 days before we recorded the last 2 episodes. That was the first time I'd seen people as well at that socially distant. Look at that spider right there, just dropped down. At the socially distant happy hour I went to, that was the first time I'd seen anyone too, and I hadn't even been going to the grocery store. I'd see people, I guess, the people that put it into my trunk when I
Right.
pull my car up to the curb.
Right.
But that's really it. And so, I was thinking back and forth about whether I should come here. Not this time, but last time at least. And I'm like, but both of us have, like, I know I haven't been anywhere and I've limited it. And, Chad's been pretty safe too. And I guess if we're only going to see each other, we can't stay at home forever. We have to, at some point, return some semblance of normalcy with the outside world. And this seems like the least harmless way to do it, what we're doing right now.
Right. And I think the other thing is, too, is there are safe... At this point, we know we're not going to eradicate the virus immediately.
Sure.
So we got to learn how to live with it.
Yeah. And we do our own personal contact tracing. We know where we've been. I'm not lying. I promise.
We're not infecting other people if we have it. I don't think we do. I don't know, but did we talk about the news that came out from Harvard?
What about it?
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, what is it?
Ooh, all right. Well, Harvard they've done some satellite research that has shown that coronavirus could have actually started popping up in Wuhan as early as, I thought they said either August, September, or October.
I mean, that makes sense, though.
Which it doesn't surprise me.
Because people were starting to get concerned about it in, like, December.
Right.
So that makes sense.
December 31st, I think, is when when China said that it's a problem. I think. I'm not sure when they actually officially locked down everything, because I wasn't locked down. I was able to travel from Jinan to Beijing in January 10th or 11th. It's crazy to think back about this now, though, if it could have been community spread by then.
You really got lucky.
Yeah. Well, but to be honest, I mean, I think the only way I could have gotten it would be maybe from one of my students.
Right.
I took the train and stuff, but
yeah, I guess you don't really get close to people.
It wasn't super it wasn't crowded to the point where we were ever super cramped. I wasn't wearing a mask though until later in January when we realized it was a thing.
See, I think about the N95 mask, but that only depends on the air quality.
Well, that's what I had.
Right.
I had an N95, and they were.
But you didn't wear it just every time you were in public. It was just if the air quality was bad enough.
Right. But once I would say probably January 13th or 14th.
That's when you just started wearing it normally.
My girlfriend and I, we stayed in her apartment. I went out a couple times for groceries and stuff, but we usually got it delivered. There was some stuff they just didn't have it on the website or the app where we would deliver it, so you had to go in and buy it. So certain stuff. So but I was wearing a mask. A lot of other people were wearing a mask.
Have you seen a whole category of Karens that I've been enjoying?
Uh-huh.
And there's male Karens in there too.
What do you
I
call a
don't
male
know.
Karen?
I heard people wanting to say Chads.
No.
I mean, it feels bad. I do feel bad. You know, I have.
My name has a terrible
Yeah.
reputation.
And
It just
you know, the funny
does.
thing is, I have another friend named Brad. That's another common. But there's been like Kyle's. That's a. I don't know. They don't really have
but
one.
a Kyle wouldn't be the same as a
I
Karen.
think it's better if we just call them all Karens, regardless of whether it's
That's
a
fair.
male or female. I think that's kind of
Karen is a genderless term,
right.
man.
Yeah, it's a
A Karen
name
is a
for
Karen.
it's a name for a can I speak to your manager? You're stepping on my rights.
Right.
You
My
can't.
haircut goes like this.
You're not allowed to be here, kind of
Right.
person. Like I love calling Karens a Karen, no matter what gender they are.
That's fair.
But there's been a whole like genre of anti-mask Karens that have been popping up. Did you see there was one
shame.
recently in New York? And these people get found all the time. How do these people not realize that like there was one, I think she was in New York, and someone asked her why she wasn't wearing a mask at like a bagel shop or something. Just thought of some New York stereotype at a
Right.
pizza place.
Good old bagels.
and someone was like, you should wear a mask or whatever. And she's like, no, I shouldn't. And then she's like, oh, you guys are sheep and all that stuff. And then right when she was walking out, she coughed at the person. I've seen a few of those Karen coughs, and I'm like, what was like, and once again, it's like, how are you guys not realizing that you're gonna be on social media? Like, you're almost definitely gonna go viral.
I just don't.
That's all that's happening
I
right
just
now.
don't understand what would possess anyone to want to cough on someone like that. Like, it's
They're
just
just
so
they
terrible.
think they're proving a point. They're like, what are you afraid of?
They're just giant. They're turds, man. I don't have their better. Karens are the worst, dude. Karens really are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Hey, let's I'm not
Spread a
even,
little love?
Yeah. I'm so not ready these days. I'm enjoying just chit-chatting with you. Sometimes I
fair.
forget that we're doing a podcast.
Nothing wrong with that.
Spread a little love.
Yeah. All right. So my shout out today is also going to be a pretty easy one. It just goes out to all the lefties out there in some way or another. Because I feel like a lot of people, lefties get a good and a bad rap sometimes. And
We're kind of like the gingers of the hand preference world. I mean, it's not a preference.
Right.
I was born this way.
yeah.
Much like a ginger.
That's the weird thing about handedness, Jared, is they say, now depending on where you look, some scientists will say, I think it's like 15% genetic, and then the other is just kind of like chance or something like that. I think some of it's also a little bit environment, and they say it's developmental, like it's just in your DNA.
Yeah, I've seen it in the DNA. Like, so you're saying some people also just say that they just like you're not born with it, but like early on you just
might
happen to
favor
start that
yeah.
way.
Well, what was interesting, I was talking to my mom about, I was telling her we were doing an episode about being a lefty, because I think there's a lot of great things about being a lefty, which we'll get to later. But, she said when I was a kid, she didn't force me to be left-handed, but I would always tend to reach for
But
things
she was
and grab
concerned.
things. Very concerned. She thought, "Is this my baby? Did they give me the wrong baby at the hospital? I think I need to take him back. He's left-handed."
This one's broken.
Right. But no, she said I would reach for things and grab things and throw things with my left hand. So she would also then hand me things to my left.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have kids, but I guess
Right.
I've never thought about it this much.
I mean, I think that's kind of just a chicken or egg kind of thing.
right.
I don't think it really makes much of a difference. But
We should probably do some untranslatable since we totally skipped
We
over our
should.
last episode,
We
and now I
should.
just have a surplus of them.
I do too. If I can find them. There we go. All right. Mind if I get us started today, Jared? All right. I'm going to start us off with some... Where is it? I want to start us off with some Swiss German, some good old Schweizerdeutsch. And it's one word actually. It's Bünzli. And I got some, I thought I had a German sentence. Yeah, I have a sentence for you. And maybe this one will give you some context, Jared. Mach das nicht. Der Bünzli von nebenan wird sehen.
Well, don't do that. The Boonsley from here on out will be seen.
The
Wait,
Bünzli
wait.
will from over there will
Oh, okay.
will see it.
Oh, is it like a peeping Tom or something, or so like a nosy Nelly?
So if you're a nosy Nelly, what might you do if you see something you don't like?
Snitch.
There we go.
Oh, it's a Karen.
It's or a goody two shoes, a narc, a goody two shoes. A
okay.
Karen. Yeah. Uh-huh. I should have
Shout out
saved
to
that
all
one
the
for the Karen
Karens.
episode. Bummer. I really blew that one, Jared.
That's
Really blew
hilarious.
it.
We came to that together, though. I don't think you initially realized that was a Karen.
That's true.
My first one is Bambara, which is a language spoken in Mali, and it's Adjeli Mandi, and it is her blood is not good.
Her blood is not.
Now,
good.
obviously, it's safe to assume that it's not a positive thing,
Right.
But let's try to get a little more specific. Where
is it like she has like she has like bad parents, bad relatives?
No. So say say you're hanging out with a friend and well, I have an example. Were you trying to look to see what it is? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes. You think I can read it from over
Oh,
here?
I guess that's a good point. Say we're hanging out, you and I are hanging out. You're like, hey, I'm gonna invite over blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be her, by the way. It's like, oh, their blood. I was like, their blood is not good.
They're not good company.
No, it's like, oh man. Or let's put it this way. It's like it kinda, yeah, actually. But it's more just like it's like I don't know, man. It's like have you noticed that they've been making concoctions in their home and putting them on Instagram and have you noticed that they've been spouting
so
off
weird?
Yeah, sure. Something is off about the person,
Something's off.
or like that
Okay.
person rubs you the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rubs you the wrong way. I gotcha. Okay. My next one for you is Brazilian Portuguese. And it is, which one do I want to tell you first? I'll tell you this one first. Oh, I'll tell you this one first. Ter muita lata, which means to have a lot of cans. Ter muita lata.
Okay, so it's probably not my obvious choice.
You've got a lot of cans, Jared.
Yeah, Pamela Anderson has a lot of cans.
Coming in here and saying that to me and my family, Jared, you've got a lot of cans.
It's like you got a lot of nerve.
Boom. Hit that ham horn if you can. That's right. Hey, you've got a lot of cans.
You got a lot of cans. Step into me like that, homeboy. My next one is I forgot I have so many now. Because
I can always save them for another episode.
Yeah, I know, but now I'm trying to
Karen
figure out which
episode.
ones I want to use.
Right? Surplus of untranslatables.
Okay, I have an obvious one I want to use. This is the one I have to use. This is Basque. Do you know where they speak Basque?
Haven't we talked about this?
Then what was the answer?
It's in the... shoot.
I tell you, we probably have talked about this.
It's in the
but
northern part of Spain and southern part of France.
Yes. When I looked up this untranslatable, I did Google Basque to make sure, like, to
Double
be like,
check.
wait, where do they speak this language again?
Right, sure.
So we did talk about it, but I forgot. So I wanted to see if you knew.
Keep me on my toes. I appreciate it.
My untranslatable is Es Careko Begiz Begiratu. And it means to look with the left eye.
Oh, very appropriate. To look. Wait, have you said that? This one sounds
Now, why do you
familiar.
keep doing this? Whether I've said it or not,
Right.
you're not just
Doesn't
jumping to answer it.
Right.
So
Maybe I'm trying to give myself some more time here, dude. Maybe it's my strategy.
I mean, well, yeah. Just I'll let you guess first.
It's to judge somebody.
To look with the left eye. No. I see why you would say that, but it's
To disapprove of something.
you're right. It's not positive, but it's like say it's like I always look with the left eye at
Suspiciously.
I always look at the left eye. I always look at the International School of The Hague, or Hague International School, whatever you call it. The
Hague.
American School of
Hague.
Den Haag, or whatever they call it. I always kind of look at that school with the left eye, because when I played soccer, those games always got super aggressive, and we rarely beat them.
So to think negatively about something.
But what is it, that person that, say someone that always beats you, and you look at them with your left eye, and you're like,
Your rival?
Yeah, and maybe once. What do you do with your rival?
Beat them up, bro.
If your rival beats you,
Mm-hmm.
you call them and say, "Hey, I want to have." If you're a fighter,
rematch,
what do you call that?
revenge.
A grudge match. It's to have a grudge on some. Yeah.
To hold a grudge.
Hold a grudge.
Hold a grudge. I see. Okay.
Yeah, they call that a grudge match, don't they?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
I could be wrong.
Probably. If not, they should. That's a cool phrase to call it. My last one for you is also Brazilian Portuguese. And it's "Estás aquí, estás a comer," which also probably sounded more Spanish than
It's
Portuguese.
here. It's over there.
You're here.
Okay, you're over there.
You're here to eat.
You're here. Oh, comer is to eat, right?
Mhm. You're here to eat.
You're here to eat. It's like it's time to get down to business. It's like no time to dilly dally. We're here to eat.
No, Jared. It's like we're here doing this porch podcast, and in a bit we'll probably have some dinner or dinner or whatever you want to call it. And, we're having a nice conversation, and then you start throwing your burger on the table, and I'm like, hey, you're here to eat.
So now I feel like you don't have to use it for food related things, do you?
Definitely not.
But is this like have some manners kind of thing?
Yep, you better behave or I'm going to slap you, is what it means.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it says here. If you don't behave, I'll slap you.
I thought you improvised that part.
Nope.
It says you must behave or I'm going to slap you. I added that
That's
part.
right.
Just remember that. All right, I'll give you one more. Why not? I mentioned to you, it's I have another sort of smaller language. It's called Galician. Have you heard of Galician?
No.
Galician is spoken in northwest Spain, sort of that little like hook at the top above Portugal. And this is feito unha, or they don't pronounce H's in Spanish, do they?
Mm-mm.
I mean, this is Galician. Feita una merda. Now, you can probably guess that last one.
Shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Made a shit. Last night, made a shit. That's what it is. You can guess first.
Is it like to make a mistake?
No. Well, could be.
Had a good time.
Too much of a good time.
Oh, too much of a good time.
No, it's a hangover.
Oh,
That's
I
why.
made a shit. Oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
It's so funny, all the different ways to say you're hungover in different languages.
Yeah. There
That's
are
really
certain,
crazy.
hangovers can attack you differently. There's the classic headache. That
Worse is like the chills and the sweats.
Yeah, that happens too. There's just like general, like your like body weakness. Like,
Yep.
There's also the
Muscle soreness.
There's definitely a hangover that can affect your a hangover can also consist of some serious gastrointestinal issues.
Yep.
So I could see it being very literal, but also just we can use it generally too. We don't have to talk about that specifically.
That's fair. Well, Jared, should we get into our lefty part of the episode today?
Sure, dude. I'm a left-handed man, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Me either.
Let me start by saying, me and my sister are left-handed. Both of our parents right-handed.
Interesting.
I don't.
Maybe, I was saying I was replaced. I was,
You were
the wrong
replaced?
baby.
Oh.
I was the wrong baby. Maybe you were
Both
too.
of us?
Yeah, maybe we both. No, well, my
Or maybe
dad's
we're
left-handed.
adopted.
My dad's left-handed.
But I'm saying both my parents are right.
Right,
Both my
yeah.
parents. So both me and my sister are adopted.
Maybe.
I mean, it made sense to me to think that I was adopted always, but both of us. That's an interesting turn.
You never know.
I'd believe it. I'd believe it.
Would you?
Yeah. I would believe that would happen and my parents wouldn't tell me. I'd definitely believe that.
Or here's another theory. What if both your parents were left-handed, but they grew up in a time and a place where left-handedness wasn't very accepted?
Yeah. I mean, they probably did. They were probably. I mean, my parents are. They're probably of that. Actually, I think my grandpa's left-handed too on my dad's side.
Oh, interesting.
But
okay, that might be where you get it from. If it is,
So there is there is the idea that there's it's a genetic thing.
yeah.
So we do have to follow that lineage somehow, see where it's coming from.
right. My dad's a lefty. My grandmother was a lefty. I think I had great grandparents that were lefties. I've
You know how they say
cousins.
if your grandfather father on your mom's side is bald, then you're going to be
Right.
bald.
Mhm.
There's got to be something for that too.
Right, for sure.
Another wives' tale that probably doesn't really
Right.
add up at all.
Now, what I find interesting about this idea of handedness is the connotations and associations people make with it, because you get different reactions from different people when you tell them, I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Jared, when I was in Beijing in September, we were doing a conference,
Yeah.
and I was
I love that picture.
about to take notes. And I'm a lefty, so I had my pen in my left hand, and the Chinese woman sitting next to me couldn't believe it. I mean, she had like this look on her face like she saw like a unicorn or something.
Well, I guess she did.
But it's because I guess in China they have like less than 1% of people over there are left-handed. And what's interesting, Jared and I have done an episode about like tighter and loose cultures, and it seems, Jared, that actually looser cultures tend to have more lefties than the tighter cultures do. Also, collectivist cultures tend to have more right-handed people than not as collectionist societies or cultures. It's kind of interesting.
That also makes sense because in a lot of countries, I mean, just in general, I don't even need to specify countries, but for a while, especially among religious people, or Chinese people
Everything
who aren't
left-handed is sacrilegious.
who aren't like, or even like like Chinese people who aren't religious, but they're very conservative, or like there's so many different aspects of that sort of conservatism as far as the obsession with right-handedness goes, to the point of where they like beat it out of you, or they maybe they don't beat it out of you anymore literally, but there's probably still a lot of places where they're like, don't write with your left hand. And then there's also the countries that we've talked about in previous episodes, where your hands are a lot more important than just which hand you write with, because
Right.
some people use
Right.
a lot of cultures eat with their hands, and a lot of cultures use their other hands in the bathroom
For
or
wiping purposes.
yeah. But it does seem like, similar to Stamped from the Beginning, it does seem like left-handedness, Stamped from the Beginning, is a book about racism and its history and the world in the U.S. specifically. But it does seem like forever, like there's always been this sort of religious bent to like some evilness behind left in general, but then like
Right.
the left hand, or like using your left hand.
Correct. Well, the fact that we use the word right to say that something is correct,
Things went
factual
left.
or true, right?
That means something went wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanna talk to you though, Jared, about countries with the most amount of left-handed people.
Okay. From what I've seen, the percentage tends to be about 10 to 13% as far as what
Correct.
the overall percentage is.
Correct. Which country do you think has the highest percentage of lefties?
So we talked about it being a looser culture.
Yep.
I'm
I'm
gonna
very loose in some regards.
guess Italy.
Nope.
Is it a European country?
Yep. Yeesh.
Greece.
Nope.
Greece would be weird, actually.
Little colder.
A little colder. So we're gonna go
Colder.
like Sweden or Finland or Norway or something, or Denmark, Iceland. I'm just going to all the cold countries.
You've been there.
I've been there, and it's a cold country.
I would say it can get cold.
Oh, you mean like Germany or Austria or
You're
something?
getting warmer.
Czech Republic,
Colder.
Netherlands.
There we go. Netherlands is number one with 13.23% of their population are lefties.
You know, I was expecting it to be more than that. For some reason, I thought the top countries would be like, you know, maybe 16 to 18 or something.
Nope, not according to this study, I guess. What's number two?
This seems like this game is already going so well. Why not keep it going?
That's right.
What
That's
is it? Also a European country? Is it the United States?
Yeah, buddy. We are
interesting.
numero dos with 13.1% of our population is
Look at
left-handed.
that. Look at that.
And number three are our brothers and sisters to the north.
Canada makes sense.
At 12.8. United Kingdom at 12.24. Then we got France, Germany, Spain, India, Japan, and China. What I find interesting, though, is if you look at population-wise, I wonder if that skews the data. But population-wise, you would think that China or India or Japan, I guess, no, sorry, more China and India, with such large populations, they would be higher up on the list.
But I don't know about India or Japan, but we've already talked about in China, they sort of, I don't like to use the word beat because they don't literally beat it out, but they don't really condone the use of your left hand like in
Correct.
class when you're young. It's
Right.
not against the law, I don't imagine.
Right. I have one friend in China who's Chinese who is left-handed. And
Yeah.
we're kind of buddies because of it.
And so, like, there probably are a lot more people that could be left-handed, but they just, like, sort of
Right.
work it out of you.
Well, I also...
And if you do it young, then I'm sure it's easy to just
Yeah,
adapt.
I think you can switch. Yeah. I learned guitar right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when I was 10 when I started. I don't know which way felt more comfortable now. I
Right.
don't remember, but now this, right-handed, fretting with my left hand and picking with my right hand feels more natural.
Is it easier to find a teacher if you do it the traditional
It's not the
quote-unquote?
teacher, it's just the guitar.
Right.
They don't make nearly as many left-handed instruments as they do right, because most
right. Mhm.
instruments
Sure.
are designed for right. That's what's cool about piano. Piano, it doesn't really matter if you're right or left-handed.
Yeah,
because the
I
keys
guess
are
so.
all right there.
Yeah, that's true. But I do sometimes notice but especially as a young pianist,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not really a pianist anymore, I guess, but
Yeah, you are.
you can
You have a
notice
keyboard, you play
you can notice like the weaknesses in your fingers in one
Mhm.
hand versus the other. It's like
Oh,
I
sure.
feel like my pinky and my ring finger are way
Mhm.
weaker on my right hand than my left hand as far as like trying to hit certain
Oh,
notes
I
and stuff
see.
like that.
You know what would be interesting, though, about a piano regarding right and left-handedness? As you move to the right on a piano, it gets higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you flipped it, what it would be like if you moved to the left, it got higher.
Huh.
Doesn't that, to me, it feels weird, though, trying to visualize going higher and moving to the left.
Yeah. Why is that? Is it just because we're used to or whatever?
Maybe? Yeah. Yeah, why does this...
Like, how is that any different?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's really weird.
But I bet you there was some thought behind it making pianos
probably
pianos
made by
for
a
right-handed people
person,
because the
exactly.
left hand does most of the bass work.
Right.
Obviously that could change, but like theoretically is doing the less intricate, the more.
Right. Bass lines.
mhm.
And- yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
You're correct, I
that
should
probably
say.
is some early right-handed bias that we don't even know about.
Right. Well, that's the thing is everything that has been made, more or less, if you think about it, is pretty much designed with righties in mind, unless you buy like left-handed scissors, a left-handed guitar.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame them though? I mean, if
not
I'm a
really,
company,
no.
am I
No.
going to make something for
13% or less? Probably
Right.
not. No.
especially something like scissors,
Right. I actually prefer scissors with my right hand, and it's probably because
dude,
I've been using
that's
them.
the thing. Now I feel like I barely know how to use scissors, period.
Okay.
Because I feel like when I was a kid, occasionally my parents would buy me left-handed scissors, but then at school, if I were to just use like some scissors someone gave to me, it'd almost always be right-handed scissors. So
Right.
early on in my scissor using time, I really got confused on which way was up on a
Oh,
pair of
for sure.
scissors.
Yeah.
And something like that kind of sounds like how
Sounds
dumb do you
trivial,
have to
but-
be to not know how to use
Right.
scissors? But it's like I've been given especially as a kid, you get a pair of scissors, you just put it in your hand how it feels comfortable. But then for some reason, everyone can cut way better than me. But then it's like, okay, so should I be flipping these upside down? Should I be putting them in my other hand? Like they're
Right.
I don't know. I like and so like there's I had such a long time where like I don't even know what's a left or right-handed scissor because when someone gives me a left-handed scissor, I'm
You don't know what to
confused
do
by
with
it
it, yeah.
almost. It's the same thing with
Because you haven't been exposed to it.
it's the same thing with in desks. So like all those college and high school
I prefer
desks.
right-handed desks.
Me too, dude.
Yeah.
Me too.
Mhm.
And they have those I don't know who thought those desks were ever a good idea, but like the chair and desk in one unit
Oh, it's a
where it like
stupid
wraps
idea.
around and the
Yeah.
chair's connected to the desk and there's only one side that's connected on, so obviously you can get in. And 99% of them are gives you a hand rest on the right side, so your right arm is rested. Then if you're a left-handed person, your arm's just dangling, which I mean, it's not a big deal. We've done this our entire life, I
Yep,
guess.
we're used to it.
But then they do have those left-handed desks, and same. They feel weird. They feel
Yep,
so
they
weird.
feel weird.
And then also because you get in on the like you're like sidewise, it's like it
It's
feels
just
weird
awkward.
being in this
It's
position
awkward. Yeah.
in relation to everyone else. There's one left-handed desk in every like like 20th classroom I go to. So like,
Right.
and everyone's always like, well, you're left-handed. You probably love this. And I was like, I don't need it.
Right.
It's like, yeah. Well, I love it.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Is that why we're? Is that
That's why we're smarter, Jared?
we're considered to be?
That's why we're better. We're more creative. We're cooler. I don't know.
But I mean, there are those stereotypes that
right. They're kind of funny.
that were more creative.
Yep.
The stereotype that
And I've
were
had people from many different countries say that. Like, oh, you're left-handed. Oh, you're more
Yeah.
creative. It's weird. Like, I've heard it from Germans. I've heard it from Chinese people.
I've heard it before too.
Heard it from Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I think some of it could be, there are some notable, very creative people who have been left-handed, but there have also been a lot of greats who have
Sure,
been
of
right-handed too.
course. I think it's also a like a left brain, right brain kind of thing.
That's what they say. As a lefty, they say we use our right brain more, which is the side associated with creativity.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I was totally just going to be like, I assume the left side is the creative side.
I don't know why, but they say, I'm not
Some
sure.
sort of balance or something.
They also say that lefties, because we do have to adapt a little bit more to stuff, that we are more comfortable
prone to
using
violence?
both, yes, and both using both sides of our brain. Now, I don't
Okay.
know how true that is, but I was reading an article in like a psychology article about left-handedness, and that's what they were saying. Was that I guess they did some scans or something of somebody's brain, did some tests to see. So
I mean,
kinda
it makes
interesting.
sense. I'm sure there are a lot of left-handed children that figured out how to use scissors, unlike me,
Right.
and even just small things like
Are you a right-handed mouse clicker or left-handed?
right-handed.
Me too. Yeah.
Is that what everyone does?
Yeah, that's standard, I think.
Yeah.
How many places do you know that have a mouse on the left side?
Yeah, that would be weird too, because then there's no mouse here, but then the clickers would have to be opposite too. So
Sure,
then the
yeah.
right click would have to be on the right side, but that's
Yep.
the inside of the like versus.
Yeah, flips everything. Well, to me, the
Yeah.
way I view being right-handed or left-handed is kind of like driving on the other side of the road. Is to me how it kind of feels. Like when if I try to write something with my right hand or throw a ball with my right hand, I feel like it's like I can do it, but it's not comfortable and it's weird and you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're a little sloppy.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't have the
That's
same.
true.
It's
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
though how that works. How you have a preference of which hand you use
For certain things.
Right.
Yeah, and it's very ingrained to you. You don't think about it.
Right.
Let's think about some other tools that are right biased. I used to go to this grocery store and the way that the credit card machine was set up, and I've seen this in multiple ones, but this one really made me mad. So there was the credit card machine, and then the right next to it was like one of those little tables that old people write checks on or whatever.
Right.
But like because of that, you couldn't really get your hand in to sign it with your
Left
with your
hand.
left hand, and then I was like, man, it's hard. I was joking around. I'm like, man, this is not made for a lefty. And she's like, and she don't even think she get it. She got it.
Right.
But I was because I couldn't. I was like reaching over and trying to twist my hand in just to sign this thing. And she's like, wow, you gotta like you're signing with the wrong hand or something like that. She said, and I was like, no, you gotta fix your machine.
Right.
I was like,
Wrong
move the
hand.
machine.
Wrong hand. You're telling me my hand's the wrong hand. Here we
Yeah,
go again, man.
exactly.
Here we go. Because
Exactly.
you're a righty and I'm a lefty. It's really funny though how we pick sides like that so eagerly. You
Yeah.
know? East versus west. Black versus white. All these different ones. Right and left.
Yeah.
All these. It's red and blue. Like it's really funny. Like
Yeah.
how these work.
Yeah, these things that we deem to be like opposites,
Right.
Yeah. Another one that's obvious. I mean, I'm sure you have this, the smudging of a notebook.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Oh, my
Your
God.
hand, bottom part of your hand just gets covered in
Yeah.
ink or pencil graphite.
Yeah, and then there's just like a shading, especially when you write with pencil. There's just like a shading
See, that's
over
why
everything you write.
That's why lefties are better artists, Jared. Is they learn how to shade just from writing in general.
That makes sense. I still don't think I feel sometimes like I don't write properly, and what I mean by that is,
I wonder if we just weren't taught to write properly as lefties.
maybe what I mean by that is like when I write extended things, like my hand gets tired, I feel like quicker than the average person, and I feel like I squeeze tighter. I grip tighter. I grip tighter, and I just feel like my hand gets tired quicker than the average person, and a little part of me feels like I probably don't know how to I was
nowadays
probably
we don't write very much either.
Oh, there's that too. There's definitely that too.
I remember when I was in school, my handwriting is atrocious.
Yeah, I have good handwriting, but yeah.
You do have good handwriting.
It's only because my sister, literally it's because my sister made fun of me relentlessly as a child.
Really?
She used to make fun I have a cousin that's like 6 years younger than me, so when I was like 10, he'd be like 4, and she'd always say like he has better handwriting than me. She'd be like, I can't read anything.
She was just shaming you.
She destroyed me to the point where I made a point to fix my handwriting.
So you
No, I didn't practice, but I definitely just when I was writing, I made a point to, and this was when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just made a point to make it look better and like slow down and all that stuff. And I'd show it to her. And she's like, I don't know. I'd show it to her, be like, oh yeah, you think this sucks? Right. She's like, I don't even know what that says. And it was psychological warfare, is what it was.
That's what having an older sibling can be like, especially that close in age. But your sister's also lefty, right?
She is. Yeah, it had nothing to do with left-handedness. It was just a way to break me down.
Story, yeah. Yeah, sad story too. I guess. Hey, you got better handwriting.
But yeah, but I feel like what I was getting at is I feel like I've never learned how to write properly, and that goes for the smudging, and then it goes for technically you can buy left-handed notebooks where the binding is on the other side.
I would feel weird. Once again, dude, I've become so accustomed to everything.
Right. So would that prevent the smudging if the I think the smudging would still... No, the only thing it prevents is you having to rest your hand on the binding.
Because we write from left to right.
Right.
If we wrote from right...
We'd be writing away from...
That's probably why Da Vinci wrote. Didn't he write that way? Didn't he write backwards?
Did he?
I thought he did.
I thought he just did it just like out of boredom because he was too smart.
to troll people.
Like he was just too smart.
Notes, right.
And he was just finding ways to entertain himself.
Right. Well, but I think that brings us to, I think it's important to talk about some notable lefties.
Of course.
Other than just you and I.
Yeah,
obviously.
the most notable. And my sister.
Right. So Leonardo da Vinci, though. He was a lefty.
Okay. Now, I wonder, did he ever talk about his left-handedness, I wonder?
I'm not sure, but I think people probably saw him write or paint, and that's how they knew he was left-handed.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have
I bet you, too.
Ones.
Well, yeah, Kurt Cobain we talked about.
Yep.
I believe we talked about Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
And we've talked about him a lot, even way
Jimi
before
Hendrix
this podcast existed.
Is one of the most famous lefty guitar players, I would say.
Condoleezza Rice. I just made that up.
I was about to say, is she a lefty?
I have no idea.
There's a lot of famous musicians.
Oh, Obama's a lefty.
Obama is a lefty. Yep.
President Obama, excuse me.
Yep. President Obama is a lefty. As we said, Hendrix, Kurt Cobain. I'm trying to think of some other famous musicians who are lefties. Tony Iommi, who's the guitar player for Black Sabbath. I've actually been on a Black Sabbath kick the last few days. Let's see here. Other notable lefties. See, the interesting thing is a lot of these we're naming from like Western cultures.
Right.
I can't think of like...
But as we mentioned, there's probably going to be a lot less notable Chinese lefties.
True.
Because they probably got it beat out of them like most other kids. Once again, I hate using beat because I'm not saying anyone's actually getting beat.
Conditioned out of them?
Yes, thank you. That's a better term.
Interesting. According to Time, Napoleon Bonaparte was a lefty. Huh. Because he wanted to... I think some of it had to do with marching and being a swordsman as well.
Oh.
See, that's the thing about being a lefty is it does give you some advantages over right-handed people in some regards.
Yeah.
Right? Like sports, I was talking about at the top of the pod. I played tennis all throughout high school, and I was by no means anyone super great, but I had an okay serve, and a lot of people had problems with it because I'm a lefty, I think, to be honest. Like, it wasn't faster than anybody else's, or it wasn't placed any better. It was just the spin goes the opposite way that you're used to.
So is it easier to? Is it when you like slice? It's easier to slice a lefty shot just because you're not used to that sort of spin coming at them.
That's the serve I like to hit because it's a little bit slower, but you can put more spin on it. It cuts away from them, or if you aim it properly, it will cut right into their body.
Does that translate to? Now I know some of these techniques translate, but does the theory of left versus right-handedness transfer to table tennis as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that, like I was telling you before we began recording, I think in any racket sport, especially if you have a doubles kind of pair, that's really, really useful because you can favor whatever your strong sides are. So if your forehand is your strong side or your backhand, you can favor it. Another famous lefty, Jared, is Oprah.
Oh.
Oprah
I was
Winfrey
actually going
is
to
a
say
lefty.
say her name as a joke. But interesting.
Yep, she is a lefty. If you look closely, if you look at her making food, apparently, you'll notice she always uses her left hand.
Okay.
Interesting.
The only thing she writes is checks, though.
That's
so,
true. That's true. I think Jared, the only thing she does is signs checks.
That's true.
She signs them, Jared. Prince William is a lefty.
Okay.
Apparently. Yeah, it turns out apparently
Is
there are
Prince
a lot
William,
of lefties.
he's the one that's married to Meghan Markle? I get them all mixed up. They're all the same to me.
Sure, I don't think so. Prince William is the one who's married to Kate.
Oh, Kate Middleton?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Interesting. Angelina Jolie is a lefty. That, for some reason, doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
She signs her name with her left hand, according to this. Ooh, this is a good one. Keanu Reeves.
I like that.
Keanu Reeves, that doesn't surprise me either.
Everybody loves Keanu.
That's true. He's a great guy, man.
Yeah.
How can you not?
I love on social media, people like take a picture of him of him on the subway, and it's like, I knew he was a great guy. It's like, first of all, he lives in New York, clearly. So what else is he going to take?
Right.
What he's gonna, and also, it's so hilarious that makes him a good person. But he does seem like a nice guy, from what
Right.
I've seen. Yeah.
Speaking of music, though.
I want to talk about more left-handed products and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Or left-handed struggles, let me put it that way. The classic going to a bar/restaurant situation.
Ooh, yep.
That's something I never...
Bumping elbows when you're eating or drinking.
Yes, that's something I never think about until I am sitting down and we're bumping elbows, and I'm
Right.
like, we got to switch. This is not going to be good.
That was the nice thing about eating out with my girlfriend was that we're both lefties.
Same.
So-
Sydney's a lefty, too.
Really? Wow. Yeah. It's so much easier, man, if you're both lefty or if you're both a righty.
Yeah.
Well, unless you coordinate where you're going to sit beforehand.
Sure. Yeah. Let's. Now, I just pulled up a list of
Some lefty problems.
left-handed products specifically.
Products. Oh, cool.
So,
Okay.
like, some of them I knew about. Obviously, scissors we've talked about, notebooks we've talked about,
Yep.
but there's plenty more. Spiral notebooks specifically. Tape measures I didn't realize. That's something I never thought about. They have the numbers.
on the other side.
on the other
That
side.
makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Although now you can get a lot of tape measures that have numbers on both
Both
sides.
sides. True.
Apparently, there are left-handed ballpoint pens. Since most people write left to right on a piece of paper, the ink from a ballpoint pen can wreak havoc for a lefty, leaving it smeared.
True.
So there's Okay, but they don't explain why. So I'd be interested to know why.
It's probably just the way the ink is dispersed is
Maybe.
different.
Huh. Okay.
Which makes sense, dude. There are some pens that I try to write with and I can't get the ink out, and then a righty will write it no problem.
Chainsaws. So
Okay.
that kind of makes sense. Another one that is used to be the bane of my existence, especially as a child that didn't cook as much, was corkscrews.
Oh, yeah?
I could never figure out how to put those. Like, I'd always put it in upside down, and I'd be like, oh. And then it's the same thing with the scissor. You like put it in upside down first, and you switch. Like, oh, so I should be doing it. Maybe if I get the leverage from my other hand, it's like, no, it's upside down completely. That's one that I've definitely had a lot of annoyance with. Now, I think we have a left-handed one, or I'm just a lot more used to it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Keyboards, apparently.
Really?
You can buy a left-handed keyboard with the number pad on the right-hand side. Entering numbers means either using your right hand, moving the keyboard over to your left hand, or trying to use. So you can buy them with the number pad on the other side. Apparently, it's easier to type the numbers with your left hand.
Oh, that would be weird.
But I guess it makes sense that it's easier because if you're using just a calculator or say like a cash register or something, you'd probably be going to your dominant hand in your
Most
left
likely.
hand. But
Most
if you're at
likely.
a keyboard, it's just the numbers are just always on the right side, so you're not going
Right.
to reach over. You're just going to go to your weaker hand.
Right. Yeah.
But these are for people that must be real sensitive to these things. But the thing is also, I'm coming from. I'm going to say I was almost at a place of privilege. It's literally the complete opposite. I'm coming from a place where I have no choice but to conform to the
Right.
right-handed products that are
That's
put before
true.
me. Circular saws, that makes sense.
Yep. Like a lot of tools make sense,
Yeah.
if you can.
Oh yeah, you can buy a left-handed computer mouse. apparently.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But now I'm so used to it would feel weird. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one I never thought about.
What?
Measuring cups.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because you
Wow.
place it. Usually they
I never
have,
thought about that, but you're right.
Usually they have like the American, like they'll have the Americans sizes on
Right.
on one
Ounces
side
or whatever,
and then the other
yeah.
side will be like milliliters or whatever.
Right.
But then obviously in America we're mostly using the American one.
Right.
And when you place it down
Imperial
on the
system,
table,
baby.
when you place it down on the table, the right hand is going to be pointing.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at the American imperial system, the hand's going to be on the right.
Yep.
That's something I never thought about, but I've definitely had a lot of situations where I grab it from
the handle,
like I
yeah.
don't grab the handle, but I just grab it like a
The
cup.
side, yeah.
And do not grab the handle, just sort of out of reflex, just because it's still easier for, once again, more tools, drills,
Right.
corkscrew.
Yep.
Corkscrew. How would that one be? Huh. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Pocket knives. I guess all these tools make sense. Yeah, and any of these make sense. Rulers, similar to a tape measure.
Yep.
Peelers. I used to have.
yeah.
I used to have some pretty big issues with peelers because usually they put. I believe it's the way they're set up. Oh, look, now I just automatically am going to my left hand as I'm doing this example. I think usually only one side is like the way that you like tilt it is optimized for your right hand, and so I've definitely, and once again I'm pretty good at it now, but I think it's just conditioning. But I've definitely had a lot of situations where peelers were difficult for me,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't either, like it would just cut out a random chunk or something, or you couldn't get like that smooth peel.
Now that I think about it, I think I was using the peeler with my right hand. Because, I tried using it with my left, and it just didn't cut nearly as smooth as it did. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how a lot of little things like that you don't realize.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? Speaking of that, we talked. British people are inherently, as far as driving goes, better set up for cup holders. Cup holders in our system where we drive on the left side are
They're on
kind of
the right.
optimized for a right-handed person.
Right.
But if you were in countries in Africa or Asia or Britain, you got it on the other side, and then you're reaching with your left hand.
Right, but I wonder, is it better to reach with your left hand or drive with your left hand?
Well, I drive a manual most times, so I'm sort of trained to have my left hand on the wheel
Right.
and my right hand on the shifter.
That makes sense.
But then if you're in England, obviously that's opposite because
Right.
your left hand's on the shifter. So I
Correct.
think I think that's more just, I mean, what's best. I think it's more just muscle memory.
Yeah, it's what you get used to in muscle memory.
I had a girlfriend in college that used to call me a mutant.
Because you were lefty?
Was I in an abusive relationship?
Yes.
Okay, it feels like
you
it.
need to call...
Kind of feels like it.
Call a therapist, call somebody. Yeah. I don't know. The funny thing is, though, is that I feel like people tend to have like 2 reactions or 3 reactions to lefties. Either, oh, cool, you're a lefty. That's number 1. Number 2, oh, my cousin's friend's brother, sister's
Okay.
aunt is lefty. or oh, you're lefty.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a freak.
Yeah, it's like, how does that work?
You're gross. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm proud of all my lefty people out there.
I'm going to be honest, man. I kind of wish I played guitar left-handed because I think it looks way cooler. It just, maybe it's also because I'm a big Hendrix guy.
Well, I listened to a podcast, and he's a big guitar fan, but he says he hates watching Hendrix play because
He was lefty.
Yeah.
Left-handed guitars do. It's weird how just flipping it, even if you take the same body shape and you flip it so it would be technically the same, but just a mirror image going the other way.
Sure.
It looks weird to me.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like a right-handed guitar, probably because I've seen more of them, looks more normal than a left-handed guitar.
Yeah, that's what the
We've
man.
been conditioned.
That's what the man wants
My
you to
man.
believe.
Yeah, we've been conditioned. It's crazy. It's absolutely
This has been
crazy.
stamped from the beginning.
Right. But yeah, speaking of cool left-handed musicians, I think we should talk about our song of the pod today.
We had to find us a left-handed musician to highlight.
Yes,
we
we
have
did.
a lot of great options because some of the greatest musicians are left-handed.
Yep, but we went with one today called Mono Neon, and the song is called
That's
Hot.
his name. That's
Yes,
the group, or
yeah.
him or the group.
Yes, that's his name.
Okay.
And the name of the song is called Hot Cheetos.
Yes, he has a lot of fun names to his songs.
He does.
And it's interesting. It's an interesting mix because like musically, it doesn't sound as goofy as a lot of his lyrics sound. Like the lyrics make it seem like kind of sound. I don't want to say goofy, but yeah, kind of funny. But then like you don't really like when you like the vibe of the melody doesn't imply goofiness by any means.
Well, I think it's because Mono Neon is a super talented bass player, producer, musician. So yeah, there's this.
So he's more about the production than he is about the lyrics. You would say.
Right. So it has this fun lyrical vibe, but musically, yeah, it's very. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot going on. It's pretty cool. I was thinking, should we play it for our listeners today, Jared?
Sure. We can play it. I wish I was prepared. What's the guy's name?
I can play it right here if you want.
Okay.
So this is called Hot Cheetos. One moment here. Hot Cheetos.
Once again, this is our
great setup here.
Yeah, this is not the setup that gives us that great audio quality of my drops
not quite.
and stuff.
But yeah, Hot Cheetos by Mono Neon. We hope you like it.
Yeah, are we just gonna play the whole thing?
So yeah, Jared, would you classify this as kind of like neo soul music? How would you? I hate putting labels on stuff, but
Yeah, I kind of get that vibe. It has as I mentioned to you before, kind of a D'Angelo-y vibe to me. I hear a little bit.
For sure.
And I think he's firmly a neo-soul artist, I would imagine you call that. Is that what you call that?
I would say so, yeah.
Neo-soul is one of those genres where, like it seems so fluid. It's
yeah. There's just so much going into it, I think. You have funk, you have jazz, you have R&B, all going into
to me, it
neo-soul.
feels so much more about, like, the vibe rather than even, like, the instrument choice or the...
Oh, for sure.
Or the word choice.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much a vibe.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. And that one, yeah, just the beat, everything is just fantastic.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, so check it out on our YouTube channel, our Song of the Pod playlist. The song is called, what is the song called, Jared? The song is called
Cheetos.
Hot Cheetos. Thank you. Had a little brain fart there. Hot Cheetos.
You betcha.
By Mono Neon, so check that out. All right. Well, Jared, I think we've covered pretty much everything we've needed to about lefties for the most part today.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I'm with you. Are we? You're not. I want to hear some more Shanghai words of the pod.
I don't have any.
I know
right
you
now.
don't. I'm not saying you don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying in general.
Hopefully, yeah. We'll see. It's
I
still
mean,
a
that's
snafu
true.
with the borders, so we'll see if the
Yeah, I
borders
forgot about
open.
that.
If the borders don't open, we'll be able to do more porch podcasts, but I definitely will not be going to Shanghai if the borders are closed, because I can't get there. So, yeah, we'll see. But just to recap today's episode, I think there's a lot of great lefties out there. Obama, Leonardo da Vinci.
Just to name a few.
Yep. Hendrix. Mono Neon, this awesome bass player and artist. Jared and I, of course. Lots of cool people are lefties. Who knows about the creativity thing? I really don't know.
Talk about also the myth that we die earlier too.
Oh yeah, of course.
I've heard that one
people
too.
Say the myth, that lefties die earlier. Who knows, man? Some people say that lefties die earlier because of factors like there's a lot of right-handed things out there, so we could maybe use something incorrectly, lead to an injury or death or something. Who knows, man? I don't know. I think the cool thing about being a lefty, I think, is number one, there's not as many of us out there.
Yeah.
Number two, I do think there is something different to, like, you're thinking and using a different half of your body than other people do.
Yeah. Even on a subconscious level, there's definitely, I would imagine, especially for younger people, an extra layer of problem solving and I guess creativity that you sort of have to naturally figure out, just to figure out how you can sit at this freaking uncomfortable desk all day and not go crazy,
Right. Or have dinner with your boss and not accidentally knock his spoonful of soup in his nice Armani suit. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting being a lefty, how people react.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth mentioning too at the end of today's episode that some cultures, as we've talked about, giving things, handing people things, eating with your left hand might be taboo. So make sure you do your research. If you are a lefty, I definitely tend to grab things more with my left hand.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I think another weird thing though for me, Jared, is once I started majoring in guitar, at Albion in like 2010 because I had to grow out nails on my right hand to pick classical guitar. I think that made me even more hyper aware of not using my right hand.
It definitely felt like
my classical guitar nails.
I definitely remember in college. It felt like you were one of the most concerned about your nails that I've ever seen any person be, and it seemed like you definitely like it almost your right hand almost presented like it's like you seem like a hand model that
was the look I was going for. Hairy ass knuckles and pretty nails, because that's what people
It
like.
reminds me of, what was that movie where that guy Zoolander, the hand model, where he had like the chamber that he wrapped his hand around and Zoolander stepped on it.
Right.
But I understand that. It even made your left hand even stronger, though. That's what matters. Is you cherish your right hand even more, like the man would love you to do. But at the end of the day, the left hand still becomes stronger.
That's right. That's right. So lefties, let us know what you think at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can slide into our DMs on Twitter at untranslatable1, the number 1.
Yes.
Also check us out on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. If you want to see some more beautiful backgrounds, some nice green trees and some pretty skies, so check that out. Also, please let us know, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher, and let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania.
Good stuff.
You got any tunes you can play us out with, Jared?
Yeah, I got something for us.
You got the outro music?
I do.
Nice. And stay tuned, people. Hopefully we'll be bringing you some new music in the near future, because it's just fun to mess around with and come up with some tasty little jams for you, so we hope you like them.
You heard them. Now the thing is, you insisting that we have
Mm-hmm.
Because usually I like to start playing music.
Right. I'm fucking up all your plans, Jared. I know, man.
No, it doesn't matter.
I know. What a bummer. What can you say?
That was good, man. That was some good podcasting.
Yeah, good work. I don't know about you, but I get tired after we do these podcasts.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah. Even though we're just talking, but still.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I think I get tired sitting in the sun, personally.
Let's scoot on over. We can keep talking, but let's scoot on over. I think you got a long enough XLR cable.
I do. I definitely do.
So I'm gonna take these.